Hello friends, I am Rebecca Maddox El-Hakam, elmama.com. I am here from what should be sunny Florida, which is not sunny at all today, and just giving you a little family update. We traveled to Florida for one of our sons to attend a showcase for uncommitted class of 2025 baseball players, and kind of made a fun vacation out of it. Honestly, I've had, we as a family have had quite a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and things have not been easy for us. So, as it is for so many families, and I wanted to make this a really nice getaway. So anyway, last night a huge storm came in. Our son was supposed to start his showcase events today, and so all that is delayed. My guess is they're just going to condense what was like 2.5 or 2.25 days into 2 days. So it'll be fine. I'm hoping that it'll dry out though, and that he'll be able to play well. He's pretty awesome. So anyway, and then we're going to be off to another adventure, so I will keep you guys posted once we get to the next destination. If you have any guesses about where we're going, you can put them in the comments. And let's see, if you guess correctly, I can put you in a drawing and send you money for a couple cups of coffee. 1 cup seems silly. That would be like sending you $10 or something. So $20. How about that? Or how about $25? It won't be a gift card to a certain very popular coffee establishment, because I've been boycotting them for well over a year, and will continue to do so, because apparently it's actually making a difference. Not me necessarily, but I did contribute a lot to their sales, so no more. It would just be a general card, or actually, I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but there's something called, oh gosh, it's not called Flip, it's like Zillion, Zilt, something like that, Zilt, Zift. Is it Zift? I think it's Zift. Zift.com. Anyway, I bought some of our nephews these gift cards, and basically it's like they say it's a zillion places that you can choose a gift card to. That's what I'll do. I will send you a Zift. If you can guess the place where we're going, you will be entered to win a $25 Zift gift card. And then when you get the card, it'll be digital, obviously. I'll send you the numbers, and then what you do is you go onto their website, and then you choose where you want to spend your money. So then all you do is put in your name and your email address for them, not for me, and then they will send you an e-gift card to the place of your choice. So like one of my nephews wanted something from, Foot Locker. So he put his information in on Christmas Eve, and within a couple of minutes he received confirmation, and then he received an actual e-gift card with number, expiration date, all that, from the store of his choice. And then he was so happy because he had wanted to buy some shoes, and he hadn't kind of told his parents specifically what he wanted, and so they didn't tell me, so I got him this gift card thing. Anyway, it's really cool. So if you haven't tried it, you should try it. And if you guess where I'm going next, then you may actually win one from me. You can try it then. I think that's pretty much it. I'm kind of excited for next year, because this year has been, like I said, a little bit rough, and the last few years have been kind of rough. And so I just want to be able to kind of regroup and we'll have a lot of things happening. We've got Bakri in his second semester at U of H. I have to meet with the accommodations people there. It's called DART, and get everything set up because I didn't do everything correctly this last semester, and so he got into some sticky situations. It's not too bad. It's definitely not like Belmont. Belmont was wonderful, by the way. It was wonderful. It was just the fact that we couldn't physically be there to support him. I couldn't physically wake him up in the morning. And it was so ironic because I had an Alexa, is it called Alexa? The actual little clock. Anyway, I had the clock in his room that was attached to Alexa, and so I could put alarms on it for him. He could set alarms on it. It could talk to him. It could say, like, you have a final test in an hour. Please make sure you've showered and brushed your teeth, or whatever. Like, you could just set it to say whatever. I could actually go on to it and talk. The problem was that he would have these, like, ugly either roommate or ugly suite mates. Like, whenever he got tricked out of his room, his first roommate would have been fine, but his first roommate was a horrible person who tricked him out of his room with another guy and then put him with someone else who really was fine, but more of a recluse kind of kid, wanted to be alone. And so then my son ended up alone for the last, like, couple months of school, and that was horrible for him because he needed somebody else that was consistently doing what they're supposed to be doing to kind of help him stay on track. Somebody that would study at normal times, would go to sleep at normal times, would go eat and be like, hey, let's go eat or whatever. He had none of that. And then he had really, really mean suite mates. And they would actually enter his room illegally. They're not allowed to because my son would forget to lock the door on his side of the bathroom. They would come in and they would turn off his Alexa or unplug it. So anyway, all that to say is that I had that set up so I could actually help him get up, help him wake him up. But it didn't work because we had little minions and evil people that were in the middle, basically ruining it for him. And it cost us thousands of dollars because it was kind of just a waste, but a learning experience, all the same. Just an expensive learning experience. Anyway, but here, what was interesting is that, or in Houston, what was interesting is that I never ever have to, like, physically get him up. I just have to talk to him and tell him what time it is, tell him when we are leaving. And yeah, he is late a little bit sometimes in the mornings. Not regularly, not because of us. He has to be there 8 every day, and one of us gets him there. So that's been great. But he still has just kind of struggled with some things. His professors haven't emailed things where they've made instructions or directions where they changed things. And anyway, that caused him a huge problem because if it's not emailed, that means I don't see it, I don't know it, and I can't help him by helping him get it into his calendar or instructions or reminding him. So that was kind of terrible. He also is a composition major, and that's kind of on the because a couple things. I think he's probably disappointed his main professor because when somebody first gets to know him, they can kind of think that he's just a jerk who doesn't do what he's supposed to do and doesn't show up when he's supposed to show up or doesn't do this. I mean, really, it's his autism, and so you have to get past that barrier first. You have to get past the barrier of the professor thinking that he's just a jerk, just a 19-year-old jerky kid, which he could be a little bit too, but because of the autism, everything is just so much worse. And anyway, so we kind of have to hopefully build that relationship so that he can stay with that professor or go to a different professor. I don't know, but I think staying with that professor is probably the way to go. But getting that professor to realize that this is an adult student who is not like others. And And then once you kind of, Bakri knows that like you care about him and you're not just like constantly on his case, and you don't actually want what's good for him, like you want to get rid of him or you want something good for him. Like if he thinks you want to get rid of him, then he doesn't even want to do what you ask him to do, because he kind of has that like defiance side. So anyway, you gotta work through that. So I've got to meet with Dart. All that to say, I've got to meet with Dart and get his accommodations worked out so that they're better this semester. And then for our senior in high school, we have to hopefully have a great baseball season. He had an amazing spring. It was his first year at St. Francis, and he was first team all district, first team all state. His stats up against, I think we did, like we had AI put his stats up against like 10 other commits that are like, that topped the list of top 75 private school stats in all of Texas. And our son is like the top. He is the top. But it's been hard because the recruiting situation is kind of a mess. He was sort of late to it because of the fact that he was at a different school, and he was named on varsity for his sophomore year. But actually the coaches and the setup of that school, it was just a bunch of jerks. And they didn't play him. They named him on the team and brought him up to practice for playoffs his sophomore year. And he actually practiced with the team for playoffs. They went and they never let the JV team practice like on the field, like hit on the field, like they do with varsity. So he's like hitting on the field in practice for the first time. He gets, I think they gave everybody like 10 pitches. He hits 4 home runs. 4. One of them he hits over the netting, which is over the top, like just ridiculously far. Out of the entire varsity squad, 1 other home run was hit that day. 1. He hit 4. He gets told by the coaches he's definitely going to be batting. Not the whole, he's not going to be starting because he hasn't played varsity as a sophomore at that point. They hadn't allowed him to. For whatever, who knows what the reason was, but it wasn't playing ability. Anyway, so he gets told he's going to get to bat, of course, because he's got one of the best bats. And game comes, they start pinch hitting for people and stuff. They start subbing out. They don't ever have a bat. They lose. It's done. Playoffs over. But guess what? According to the rules for UIL, like we couldn't have transferred him to our local high school because he was on varsity. We could have transferred him, but he would have lost a year of eligibility, meaning he wouldn't even have played his junior year, and then he would have been able to play varsity this year if he went to our local high school. The other school didn't know we were already transferring him to St. Francis. Anyway, all that to say is his first year as varsity player was his junior year, and we have this book that gets published, and it's the top 75 players in the state that are private school. It's basically, it's just stats. It's like, it just says like, here's the top 75 batting averages, here's the top 75 OPS, here's the top 75 hits, home runs, doubles, triples, whatever. Our kid is like up there on everything, and just incredible. And so Mustafa loves AI, and so he does this whole thing where he puts in the stats of him, and he puts in the stats of 10 other kids who are also at the top of the stats, or near the top, and that are commits at either Big 12 or SEC teams, just to see where our son compares. Doesn't name them, doesn't say who's who, whatever, anything like that. Just asked AI to say, like, rank these players, like, who are the top players of these 8 players, 10 players, whatever, however many he did. Well, our son comes out the best. But sadly, he doesn't know where he's going to play in college. And I feel like that's mostly because he was delayed in his recruiting because of what happened to him at his first high school. But I also feel like it's all going to work out. We'll look back and be like, it was fine how it worked out. It worked out the way it was meant to. I know that. I trust that God has a plan for him and that we're going to be shown that plan. But it's also difficult because if you follow like any of the kind of college sports, the money that they can get, the fact that JUCO kids are, being looked at without having like their eligibility taken away. There's also like roster sizes for baseball for some reason. NCAA decided to reduce the size, so that really impacts the high school players because it's like 7 or 8 players per team, and then times the number of teams. I forget. It's a huge number. So anyway, all that impacts the seniors, and I think that at the end of the day, like there's going to be teams that are just like they're going to want Maddox no matter what, and they're going to want him over 2 players. They're just he's a rare specimen. I mean, with his cleats on, he's 6'4", he's over 200 pounds, and he hits bombs, and he's like a really aggressive hitter. He always has been. I think he hit his first home run at like 8. I think he was 8 years old, 8 or 9, I don't know. Anyway, just, yeah, so that's what we're doing here, and this is why this is going to be a big part of this next year, is trying to figure out where he's going to go, and we're going to know. We're going to at least know the next step, and it'll be the right path for us, and then hopefully it'll work out, and it will. And our other kiddos, I mean, it's going to be a big year for them because with another one graduating and heading to college, we'll only have 3 kids at home. Actually, that's not true. Because I still have Bakri, so we'll only have 4 kids at home, and we will have not the child who helps us the most as far as like driving people everywhere and being really trustworthy. So it kind of makes me want to cry, but anyway, it's good. I want him to be happy. He needs to move on. And I think Bakri's still going to need our help next year, so we'll see. Anyway, Jimmy will finish kindergarten, Trin will finish her sophomore year, Leland freshman year, and then, yeah, it's going to be awesome. I've been thinking a lot about music. I don't know if it's just because I'm on a little break and away from my normal responsibilities. Like, I had to work so hard leading up to leaving on Christmas Eve, but like I finished work at 8 p.m. on Christmas Eve. Had to go home, pick up presents, and then go to my in-laws' house where everybody had already eaten, and then they were already ready to open presents, and so like scrapped down food and then opened presents, and then we went home. But leading up to that was really tough. I had 3 services on Christmas Eve that I was responsible for, 3 totally different services. And then, so I was like the planner for those. I sang in one of them, which was was in our traditional space in what we call the church. But it's not the space that I normally plan services in. I plan services in a contemporary space called the Parish Life Center. Again, the word the church doesn't actually mean the building, but that's just how we refer to it. So it's the people. The church is the people. So yeah, leading up to Christmas was so hard for me because I knew I was going to be gone on this vacation. And so that meant that I wanted to have, and like our whole office was going to be gone too. I mean, I think our offices were only open maybe one day this week, or I'm not even sure they were open one day because I'm off on Friday, so I don't know if, anyway, but I needed to work ahead. I needed to leave the space like as set up as possible. And I needed to have all my stuff printed for the 29th and have all my Christmas Eve stuff done. And I had 2 services on the 22nd. So it was like, there was just not enough time and too much to do for one person, honestly. But I did it. And now that I'm past that, and I know that the services are going to go great today, and I don't have to worry about a thing because I have the most amazing friends and coworkers that I get to work with every week, and the Sundays should be pretty light. Yeah, I've been thinking about my music, and I don't want to cry about it. It's just, when I was in a position where I'm doing kind of regular services, where I'm planning and thinking about the music, it's just something I don't do right now. Like if I sing, if I help lead the worship, the only time that I'm actually like thinking about what songs are going to be played, and like what the message is and how it fits, and the only time I like, allow myself to do that is when I'm planning our staff Eucharist service. So like when we have communion together, I do get to plan that one and sing, and with 2 of our music leaders at our church. And but again, because that's sort of like an add-on to my regular at least 2 services that I do each week. I don't really have time to like sit down and really think through the music deeply. I'll usually do it with one of the other music leaders, like just talk through it with them. So I'm not like on my own. But what I used to do, the way my process worked when I was planning worship music every single week, was that I would look at the scriptures, look at kind of where I thought the message was going to go, or just like what inspired me from the scriptures. I would pick songs that way. And then sometimes the way that I wrote mostly was because God would just like really give me a particular passage that kind of reached my heart, and I would just hear the music and the lyrics, and so I wrote a lot of songs that way, a lot. And now I feel like I need to force myself back into a songwriting rhythm, because honestly, anytime I give myself space, like if I'm in my quiet time and I am reading scriptures and thinking about the scriptures, the songs will come. Or if I'm quiet in my car after I've done that, then, and not listening to the radio, not listening to a podcast, and I'm by myself usually, like, so if I'm not driving anyone, then the music will come, the words will come, the lyrics will come, the songs will come. And I just want to be intentional about that this year, at least being open to it. I mean, I can't really manufacture music and new songs, but I certainly can listen and have my heart open to them and to receiving them from the Lord, because that has been such an amazing gift, and kind of being out of that rhythm is hard. And even like at our last church at St. John the Divine, I was in a position where I was a part of, it wouldn't be called like a podcast, but like I was just given opportunities to, okay, we're going to do this series, and it's going to be, the Psalms series, and it was like, because I was told, yeah, we're doing this, it was like the creative juices would flow, and I would write new songs. And so I want to be open to that and creating that. And, you know, I think like as far as like our family and kind of being at maybe more of a stable place, I hope, that it's probably a good time for me to do that. And yeah, so that's pretty much my update. A lot of rambling on, but I'm happy to be here. I'm really excited about what's to come in the new year, and I plan to be intentional, particularly with my songwriting, and I'll try to be better about updating here. Years ago, I spent a little bit of time on my YouTube channel, like not a lot, but a little bit. And I was trying to grow it because we were given a certain threshold of this is when you can monetize and when you can make money off of your channel. Because used to, you could make money off your channel if you just got views. And I had that going for me. I didn't make a lot, but I made a little bit. But apparently they lowered the threshold. And so I have that number of subscribers, so I just need to start making videos and putting content out there, and hopefully people will watch it. And Merry Christmas. This is, what day is this of? So I think, yeah, today is the 5th day of Christmas. And so Merry Christmas. And it's almost the new year. Happy New Year. Bye. And if you haven't subscribed, please do.